listening to TC TAUX on TNT.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is TC here, back with another episode of TC Talks, and today we're going to be talking all about the NFL. There were a ton of games that had upsets, and there were a ton of teams that underplayed, a few injuries, and one major bad decision that capped off Week 1. We'll dive into all of that coming up, but really quickly, go ahead and show me that love down below. All the YouTube love, the likes, the sharing, subscribing, all the comments. Let me know your favorite TC Talks episode down below. But we're going to dive into all of those games really quickly, or at least highlight some of them going forward. So let's go ahead and do so really quickly. If you missed my last episode about the Chicago Bears, then let me just remind you that TC was right. The Chicago Bears went out there and bested the San Francisco 49ers. Justin Fields showed up just as he needed to get the Bears the win. 2 late touchdowns to be able to give the Bears the lead and secure the bag. That is exactly what you want from Justin Fields. He wasn't going to be the difference in terms of being able to be the powerhouse that just got Chicago through, but he was the difference in the sense that he played at the right time. So you hope to see him extend that into 4 quarters by the end of the season, but coming away with the win is all we're asking for right now. Then you had the Panthers blowing it against Baker Mayfield's former team, the Browns. It was an unfortunate Week 1 for Baker Mayfield. He had a rough first half, but was able to rebound in the second and came out there looking for a win. He was able to get the Panthers up late in the game, but unfortunately the Panthers defense and his supporting cast was not able to stay up to the task. The Browns would go on to win the contest. Then you also had the Colts going up against the Houston Texans, and I don't know if Matty Ice is just not the answer for the Colts, or if Houston has really gotten better over the past year, but they ended up tying with Houston in this contest, and that means TC picks up a tie for this one, but it was also this contest that got TC the win in his fantasy league. So shout out to Jonathan Taylor for racking up those yards. And then one of the other biggest upsets, I think, and it wasn't really an upset, but a surprise show up by Carson Wentz. He looked really good Week 1. He was actually able to best the Jags, who I had pegged to win this one, and he just looked really good. Not the normal Carson Wentz we've grown to see. This is a completely revamped Carson Wentz, and hopefully he's able to continue this throughout the season. Then the Packers getting embarrassed by the Vikings. It was not even close. I mean, the defense looked bad. The offense looked like a joke. It was not good at all for those Packers. The defense rebounded a little bit in the second half, so maybe that's a silver lining for Packers fans to look forward to, but overall, this was not a good game, and hopefully the Packers are able to rebound, but not until Week 3. And honestly, the one last game that I want to highlight is Tennessee versus the Giants. Those New York Giants able to sneak away with the win, one of their first Week 1 wins in years, and it comes against a team that was looking for a fresh start in this new season. They ended last season being the number 1 team in the playoffs, and then they go out and they lose in their first matchup in the divisional round. They're looking to rebound this season, and they get embarrassed Week 1 to one of the worst teams in the league over the past few years, and expected to be this year as well. So it is not high hopes out there in Tennessee. Hopefully Ryan Tannehill and that offensive unit can rebound in Week 2. But there are also some significant injuries in these matchups as well. So TJ Watt suffered a tear in his pectoral muscle. As you all probably know, he's expected to miss at least 6 weeks up to possibly the rest of the season. If he does, in fact, have to get surgery due to the torn pectoral muscle, then Dak Prescott also gets injured in the loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He suffered an injury to his throwing hand that is going to require surgery. That means he's out for 6 to 8 weeks is the time frame right now. So that means Dallas, at least you have a good excuse for missing the playoffs and not just choking in the later half of the season. So that is the upside to Dak Prescott getting injured. And the only upside to TJ Watt getting hurt is the fact that Mitch Trubisky is probably going to look a lot worse when that defense regresses due to Watt's absence. So expect Pickens to be able to get the rock pretty soon, I guess, because I don't expect Trubisky to stay in there throughout the whole season, maybe the whole season, but I don't expect him much further after that. Maybe the whole season, but he's going to be either gone or a backup after that. So that's some upside to that. You'll get to see your rookie get under center faster. But the biggest controversy comes from the last game of week 1. It was the Broncos versus the Seahawks. And I think we all know what I'm talking about with this matchup. With 1 minute and 11 seconds, the Broncos are driving. It is so hard to say that when you're thinking Russell Wilson, Seahawks, Broncos, and you want to say Seahawks, but it's Russell Wilson on the Broncos, and he's going out there. There's 1 minute, 11 seconds left in the game at his 45-yard line. He's driving. It's 3rd and 14. He picks up 9 yards on a check down, and all of a sudden, you're like, okay, call timeout. Figure out a plan for 4th and 5, pick up that first down, let the clock run down, and kick that field goal. That's all they needed to do. They had plenty of time to do it. It was the perfect time to execute this play. Even if they didn't call the timeout, they could have let the clock continue to run. But honestly, I don't know. It doesn't matter if there's time left on the clock. Really, in my opinion, if you turn the ball over, you turn the ball over. For the field goal, if it's really about running down the clock, all you need to do is just go put the field goal unit on the field, let time run down to 1 second, call your timeout, and leave the team out there. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be worrying about, all this extra pizzazz. But I think over and above all, a lot of people are outraged over the decision for the Broncos to go ahead and try to kick a 64-yard field goal to win in this situation. I think the biggest issue is the fact that there is a new age versus old school mindset. The new age mindset goes for it on 4th down pretty regularly, often, even in the first quarter. The old age mindset saves 4th down for must-need situations. And for this situation, it seemed the Broncos felt they were in a situation to be able to kick a field goal and walk away with the win. And on the surface, I understand why people disagree with that. But when you go back and you watch that field goal, it is barely missed. It is a few yards to the left. And honestly, it has the distance. It just missed a little bit towards the end. Would those 5 yards been a difference? Yes, absolutely. And me personally, I would have tried to go for it on 4th down and then kick that field goal, because personally, I wouldn't expect my kicker to be able to make a 64-yard field goal on the road. I disagree with it, but I still understand it. The people that think it's the most ridiculous thing, that seem like fundamentally it is loony to have done this, I feel are the new age type of people that want to see offenses go out there, best defenses in a head-to-head matchup. And I understand that. That sounds way more exciting than kicking a 64-yard field goal. Even though it's the tied for second longest field goal in NFL history, I still would rather see Russell Wilson have to roll out of the pocket, escape a few sack attempts, and make some insane throw to pick up the first down than to see a field goal. That's not fun, but okay. It's going to be a field goal either way. They just did it a little bit earlier. We all disagree with it, and I think we're upset. I think we can get over the fact of it, though, because we understand, one, dude had the leg. He drilled that. That could have been a 70-yard field goal, and I got money on it. 2, it was the first game, and honestly, I think it showed the ability of the team to persevere and at the same time gave the kicker a little bit of credence as well, because as long as that coach keeps up his mentality, has the belief in that kicker going forward, I think that's going to bode well for this unit, because now that kicker is going to have the mindset, my coach believes I could kick the second longest field goal in NFL history for the win. That might not seem like much on the surface, especially in a league where you have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes throwing touchdown for touchdown in the divisional round. I understand that. But at the same time, it is important to have your kicker be able to execute, as we saw so many times in this week 1. So don't disagree with me. Go ahead and look at all those teams that wish their kicker could have made that last shot. But really quickly before I go, I just want to remind you guys my record. I am 7-7-1. We're not including that Rams game. I did not make the video ahead of time to be able to bring that to you, but that means I am right at 500 going into week 2. Basically a big old goose egg. So we'll see if I can get ahead next week. I am 7-7-1 since we're not including that Rams game, which I expected the Bills to beat up on the Rams. But TC 7-7-1. We'll get those week 2 predictions for you later this week. We also have a White Sox segment coming out later this week. Can they make the playoffs? They are definitely making a push for it. But is it too little too late? We keep talking about it because this team is on and off like a light switch with a kid that thinks it's so cool and is magical, because I don't know about you. Maybe it was just me, but I love doing that as a kid. I was really referencing myself, but I'm a grown adult now and I can't admit that I still do it. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Are you excited where week 1 left off? Are you upset? Do you have hopes for your team going forward? If you're a Cowboys fan, at least you have the hope that you don't have to find an excuse for why your team either failed in the playoffs or failed to make the playoffs. So give me your thoughts down below. Give me the love. And until next time, this has been TC with TC Talks. Peace.